Senator Johnston.
Thank you, Mr Deputy President. This matter is extremely serious. There is only one way that a government duly elected in this country can do business and acquire non-government services, products and assets and work, and that is through a tender process. Without a tender process that is full and laden with integrity, government cannot function. The basic responsibility of every minister in our country, in our system, is to oversight and conduct a proper, fair, equitable, transparent, honest, decent tender process. This minister has failed not once, not twice, but 3 times. He has completely botched tender processes. There are very few people in public life who can stand up and say that they have been directly responsible, that their fumbling of the ball has cost $30 million to the Australian taxpayer. Not many people can say that, but this Minister Conroy has the ignominy of being able to proudly proclaim that he, through his own fumbling and incompetence, has lost $30 million in NBN Mark 1 failed, as identified not by us in politics. The Australian National Audit Office have pinged him. $30 million. He then, with respect to the $36 billion construction tender, dropped the ball on that. It collapsed in April. Now, this tender is another classic example of his raging, glaring, naked incompetence. This man not only has mucked up a $223 million tender, he has done so whilst under the massive cloud of a conflict of interest. Because in estimates, in discussing this contract, he said, "I have seen the ABC tender proposal. It's a fine tender." Now, if he knows it's a fine tender, when the Prime Minister gave him the Guernsey to oversight this thing, he should have said, "Whoa, hold on, I'm the responsible minister for the ABC." But no, his understanding of public policy responsibility is zero. He is the Prince of Dunderheads, Mr Deputy President. He is functioning under the most glaring, identifiable—
Senator Johnston, you probably need to withdraw that last remark. Thank you.
He is functioning under the most fundamental and basic conflict of interest. So what do we see? What do we see here? The government embarks upon advice contrary to the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade on this important tender. The government has refused to disclose the members of the panel who are at the evaluation board who are adjudicating the tender. So they're not acting in accord with their government department's advice. They're not telling anybody who's making the decision, but the leaks tell us that on 2 occasions that independent board said, "Give the contract to Sky." Now, why aren't they doing that? Why aren't they doing that, Mr Deputy President? The answer is because Sky is owned by the evil empire, the News Corporation. The News Corporation. And so the Prime Minister has rolled her sleeves up and dived in and said, "We're not going to give this tender contract to the evil empire. They're the bad guys." They're saying that we're doing terrible things like carbon tax and mining tax. But this is what this government has and brings to the table. No integrity. And indeed, the Solicitor General giving the advice that we've heard from the Minister says it all. This has the potential, this contract, to be tainted and corrupted. Well, can I say, Mr Deputy President, it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. Look along the front bench in both of these chambers. Tainted and corrupted is the one glaring word, 2 words that come to mind when you look at these people. Not many ministers can stand in this place and say, "I personally, of my own ability, have burnt $30 million of taxpayers' money. But he'll go down in history as one of the great spendthrift incompetents.